really think that if an adult smokes marijuana, he or she should be treated as a criminal. Now, there are people who think it's a bad idea. There are people who think smoking and drinking are bad ideas. But we have learned that prohibiting these individual choices does more harm than good. And I think what you're seeing is people see this disparity between the way they believe and act to a great extent and the way the law is, and they know that that's not a good thing. I want there to be respectful law. I don't want the law to be treated as something silly.
Okay, I want to get through a couple of points, and we have a very short time left. You have said you think this would be bad for the medical industry, and I think kind of jokingly, because medical marijuana would be allowed if this is passed in all states, and you said you're going to have a lot of people saying they're sick.
Oh, yes. So there are 12 states that allow the use of marijuana for medical purposes, but the administration, the Bush administration, has gone in and prosecuted people because the federal law has overridden the state law. And for a state, and in most of these states, 11 of the states, there were referenda. The people voted to allow the medical use of marijuana, but the federal government comes in and says, yeah, but if you follow your state law and you give medical marijuana for medical purposes, we're going to arrest you.
Okay. I've got 10 seconds left here. So what's your response? Are you finding people, your colleagues, are open to your idea or no?
A lot of them say it's a good idea and they're glad that I'm doing it instead of them.
Yeah, and you did this. I have to say, you introduced this when you were in the state legislature.
I did.
Yeah, but now you feel more
I think this is one where the voters are ahead of the politicians.
Okay. Congressman Barney Frank.
Countdown to launch. The medical marijuana
Launch commit.
radio show.
Guidance is internal. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. Power cleared.
The medical marijuana radio show is a production of the Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
You tuned in to that medical marijuana show. 855 Triple M Radio. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. You tuned in to that medical marijuana show. 855 Triple M Radio.
Folks, Denise is still on vacation on assignment with her kids, but we are still live Saturday in Detroit.
Okay, Steve is the host with the co-host Denise. Starting at noon Saturdays every week. Yes, we keeping you legal. Legislators and lawyers, doctors and the growers. The show is for the people. Michigan medical marijuana, no hassle. We talk about anything, any issue we can handle. Call us up and let us know what is on your mind. And make sure when you do it legal every time.
Welcome to another medical marijuana radio show for Saturday. It is, what is it, the 12th already? Is it the 11th? What day is today? No chiming in. It looks like it's the 12th. Saturday, November 12th, 2011. It's a beautiful, gorgeous day outside in Detroit. Thanks for showing up on the radio to join us for this ever more important topic. Every week, it seems to get more and more important. I don't know. A lot of people are like, it's not getting more important. It's not. It's really not getting more important. It just seems like it is. At least to the people that participate in the community. The guys who are patients and caregivers, the guys who are business owners who have to deal with this issue. It gets bigger to them for sure. And it's because, politicians are railing against this. And I would say it's no longer at this point, for the most part, I believe, based on my personal experience with our state legislators. I think our legislators have seen the light, ladies and gentlemen. I think that they've finally figured this out. They're starting to see the crackpot, Bill Schuette, paint some more clown makeup on himself. And he's so adamant, he's so just laser focused about this subject, our Attorney General in the state of Michigan, that the Republican brethren with which he consoles, with which he, that's his party ticket. They're starting to distance themselves. And they see the writing on the wall with this. Did you see the Attorney General's opinion this week? Most people didn't. It snuck by in the middle of the night. They didn't even put it in PDF format at the, legislative end. Usually they put that in a PDF format and they send it out. Or they post it accordingly. Never happened. They snuck it in just after close of business on Thursday. Or was it Friday? I think it might have been Friday. I have to double check that. I think it was Friday. And, I guess it was Thursday. It was close of business Thursday. And there was nobody around to cover this in the news cycle. It kind of snuck by everybody. The news guys knew about it, but it was too late to get in today's news, and by tomorrow it's yesterday's news. Nobody wants to talk about it. See, that's how they do this. So what the Attorney General's opinion said is this, and mind you, this is all driving towards one big goal, and that goal is to gut what the people passed in 2008 as the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. Now, why would he do that? It's because of his connections with Dow. It's because of his connections with big pharmaceutical companies. I mean, you remember that Attorney General Schuette, when he was running for office, was the guy railing against this. I mean, he took special interest money. It's all part of public record. Go look at it. It took all kinds of special interest money to form a huge campaign that he lost in the voter initiative drive back in 2008. It didn't happen, Mr. Schuette. You can't cry over spilt milk. But see, now that he's got the office that has control over this policy in the state, it's got the most control over it, he's going to use that. Because the money that he would make through Dow and through the pharmaceutical companies, by keeping this illegal in this and every place else he can, by establishing a state precedent that says, no, you can't have medical marijuana laws in states because it's against federal law. And federal law supersedes state law. See, this is all about that. Back to that issue. We got to talk about this some more. There's so much more to talk about with this. But what it comes down to is his opinion says he can take your medical marijuana regardless of whether you're a patient or not. The cops can keep it and not give it back. We'll tell you about what that means coming up here on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Folks, don't go away.
Right back on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients. All right, I'm going to do this one without any music because I don't want to distract you with anything. I want you to join us Monday through Friday from 6 until 10 a.m. on RadioWeedShow.com for the all-new Medical Marijuana Morning Show. The all-new Medical Marijuana Morning Show from 6 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday on RadioWeedShow.com. We've got music, we've got guests, we've got a co-host. Oh, it's not filled yet. Might be a good thing to do. It's the all-new Medical Marijuana Morning Show, Monday through Fridays from 6 until 10 on RadioWeedShow.com. The patient's place for medical marijuana education and safe access is Third Coast. Beautiful downtown Ypsilanti is where you can get safe, affordable access to education and materials concerning your specific needs, and quality products designed to meet your exacting needs. It's the Third Coast, 19 North Hamilton in Ypsilanti. Convenient hours, friendly, professional, compassionate. Call Third Coast today. 734-487-5402. That's the Third Coast Compassion Center in downtown Ypsilanti. 734-487-5402. If you are a carded Michigan medical marijuana patient with a need for safe access but have reservations about privacy and discretion, there is an answer. It's the Ant Farm. The Ant Farm is Metro Detroit's trusted professional mobile transfer service. Write this toll-free number down. 888-369-3320. Lab-tested, mold and pesticide-free. It's the Ant Farm's convenience you'll try, but quality standards, privacy, and friendly professionals that will bring you back. The Ant Farm comes to you. Call for discreet details right away. 888-369-3320.
When I was young, I knew something was wrong. My mother would forget to pick me up from school.
Drugs and alcohol may make you forget your problems. And more.
Then she remembered something. Me. My mom worked hard to be in recovery. And now she is here for me. Hi, Mom. You ready? Let's go.
For drug and alcohol treatment for you or someone you love, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, Steve Greene here for the Medical Marijuana Certifications at AMMP. They're the American Medical Marijuana Professionals. You'll find them just north of Utica Road on Gratiot in Roseville. Their address is 28349. Now, call-ins are welcome, but you're better off calling for an appointment. They have a toll-free number, 877-RX-420-99. That's 877-RX-420-99 for American Medical Marijuana Professionals. That's AMMP on Gratiot in Roseville.
The Green Bee Collective.
Hey, medical marijuana patients, it's time to discover what all the buzz is about in Ann Arbor.
The Green Bee Collective.
The Green Bee Collective is busy making sure your patient needs are met with high-quality, locally grown meds.
The Green Bee Collective.
Get to know the information, the research, the benefit available to your condition.
The Green Bee Collective.
Weekly specials in just minutes from downtown Ann Arbor and I-94.
The Green Bee Collective.
The details are sweet at MMMGreenBee.com. Call 734-929-2553 now.
Gotta get get. Gotta get get.
It's the Medical Marijuana
Gotta get get.
Radio Show.
Gotta get get. Gotta get get.
Good God, it's like 4,000 degrees in the studio. Who turned up the heat in here? I'm turning it up myself. We're going to pump the juice through the radio, kick some butt and take some names. It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Good afternoon. 810-423-2350 if you want to call the show today. We've got the toll-free lines off being moved currently. 810-423-2350 if you want to talk this afternoon on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show about Bill Schuette. Do we have the Bill Schuette theme song? Can we pull that up anywhere? I think it is here, but for some reason, there we go. It's the Kill Bill theme song. We got to do a Kill Bill update because it's just crazy. I mean, have you seen what's been in the papers? It's not been in the papers. It's the Attorney General railing against the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act with an opinion. I'm telling you, it's just not right, folks. We can't have it like this. I can tell the Medical Marijuana morning show that I do during the week, just on the stream. Tony does a great job on the morning show here. Would never want to ask you to leave his show at all to participate on mine. Mine is so much smaller, for sure. I don't want to confuse that issue for Tony. We love Tony. Tune in to Tony's show, Monday through Friday. It's from 6 until 9 here on 1310. Tony Crupiano. Can't miss him. But the morning show has made this show better, I think. And the idea with Bill Schuette here is this opinion that he's put out. Says this. It says that if the police encounter marijuana anywhere, it's their duty to seize it immediately, without question. It doesn't matter if you're a card-holding patient. It doesn't matter if you're a caregiver. It doesn't matter if you're sick. It doesn't matter. It's illegal under federal law, and therefore they have the obligation, the duty in this state to seize it. And then once they do seize it, after they haul you off to court and do whatever they're going to do with you, have their way with you, toss you about, then when they release you, upon your release, assuming they haven't charged you, because they're going to try and do that too, at least in Oakland County. I don't know. Don't seem to be real fair. But when they release you, they don't have to give it back. That's what Bill Schuette's opinion says. And here's why this just bugs the hell out of me. It's because, Bill does... Yeah. I just am so mad about this. This it's ludicrous. This opinion has legal binding effect on state employees. That's what makes me so mad. And Bill knows this. This is why he produced this opinion. It's backed up with all kinds of little court precedents, case law, that he's managed to cobble together, working tirelessly through the midnight hours, burning the midnight oil, trying to establish case law so he could accomplish this very thing. Use his own case law, in his own opinion, to say you don't get your medical marijuana. You don't get your medicine. Buy it from the big drug companies who I own stock in. That's where you get your medicine from, guys. You don't get it from these other things that we've created in our state. I didn't see this coming. I told you not to do it, and now that you did it anyways, I'm going to tell you you can't. I'm going to thwart your will, people of Michigan. That's not what the Attorney General was hired by the people to do. The Attorney General in this state was hired by the people to back its laws, to enforce its laws, not to pick them apart, not to try and say they don't stand, that they're not legal. The Attorney General is supposed to interfere when the federal government tries to step in and say, no, 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 you don't get your state rights. That's what our Attorney General is for. That's his chief and primary job. He's using his paycheck that we pay him every week. I'm assuming it's a weekly check. Whatever his pay is, it comes because the people of Michigan are paying it to him. And then he's using his public office and the power that it comes with and the paycheck that he gets every week, however he gets it, to do exactly the opposite of what his job description says. Now, I'd say if your job description was to go to McDonald's every day and make the food, you work on the line, you're a line cook, and you go there and instead of making the food, you destroy the food, you ain't going to have a job very much longer, are you? I'd say in a heartbeat, they'd spin you out of there on your ear. And that's what we're trying to do here in the state of Michigan, too. It's not just the medical marijuana guys that are pissed off about Bill Schuette, let me tell you that. There's a whole bunch of guys mad at Bill Schuette. I would say, you know, some of his colleagues are just as mad at Bill Schuette as the medical marijuana guys. And then when you wrap up the whole Schneider thing and the Teachers Association and the whole bridge question and then the whole union busting on the... look, the police department in the city of Detroit has been asked by Mayor Dave Bing to take more huge concessions. They said, no, 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 we've already done this. It's not just it's the union as a whole, the city union. Take concessions to the tune of this by this time or else. I'm just going to have to hand this off to the governor. Let him come in here and dismantle the city in its entirety without respect to the fact that people have elected representative government there in the form of city council and a mayor. They already did it to the schools, this emergency financial takeover, mired up the question about whether or not Detroit Public Schools and the school board has any effective power whatsoever. Do you want this to happen to the city government? This is what the mayor has to do. This is what he's contending with. I'm not saying the mayor's a madman. I like the mayor. He's contending with what's on his plate. What's on his plate is that we're going to go belly up here. So the mayor's already saying, look, we're going to take concessions. If you don't take concessions, we're going to hand this off to an emergency financial manager, and then what? So, that whole thing with Schneider, you tie up that Schneider business, because that's all Snyder-ish. That's all Schneider push. And I'm not saying that that's got bad drive behind it either. Snyder's trying to do a good thing. I just don't know that he's going about the best way of doing it. I think he has good intentions. I really do. I also think he's playing good cop, bad cop with Attorney General Bill Schuette. I think, the longer that Mr. Snyder's able to remain silent on this issue, I got a bigger fish to fry, I got other things to worry about, then when we get all this other stuff taken care of, which is never going to happen, by the way. Last however many years with the former governor, she couldn't get it done in 2 terms. You think he's going to get anything done on this term outside of this question? He's busy working on other stuff is what I'm saying. And if he's busy working on all this other stuff, what are you going to do? Holy cow, we got people on the phones. I'm railing away, yammering on. And there are people waiting to talk. So let's see who, I can't even see who's on the phone here because I've got my own internet stuff in the way. It says, your guest. Oh, yeah, that's Hoss. Oh, how quickly we forget. Hoss, are you on the phone?
Yes, sir.
Hoss, tell us about I think we've had people on before. Have you been on the regular radio show or just have you on the morning show? I can't remember.
Just the morning show, but I'm headed to do something against Schuette right now.
Really? What are you going to do for against Schuette right now?
I got invited to one of the certification centers in Lansing to do my shirts and take petitions to do the recall on it.
Very good. So if you want to go sign the Bill Schuette, the Recall Bill Schuette campaign, and you happen to be out in Lansing, you might not be able to pick us up on 1310, but if you're listening to us on RadioWeShow.com or on the stream, or if you happen to be, picking us up on the rebroadcast, go out there to Lansing and sign the petition. Where are you going to be at, Hoss?
I believe it's 2868 Michigan Avenue.
2868 Michigan Ave. And you got your T-shirts out? Hoss is a T-shirt guy. Let's give him a short synopsis of the story, Hoss, because we've done this on the morning show, but for the benefit of our terrestrial radio crowd, we'd like to tell people who Hoss is and what Hoss does, because I think it's very interesting. Maybe we've got about 4 minutes to do this, because I'm expecting in moments we'll have I'm hoping to have Attorney Paul Tylenda on the phone to talk about this Bill Schuette thing and what this means in a larger way. But really quickly, Haas, tell us, you're a T-shirt guy, you make T-shirts, and you're selling T-shirts out there. Now, you make T-shirts exclusively for the medical marijuana crowd, yes?
Yes, sir. I got one that says Michigan Fights Back for medical marijuana rights. That is a give back that helps me get around or helps other people out what I do with the money. And then we have a Vote Green with Ben Horn to campaign for 2012 to get everybody to vote green and get people signed up. Now,
that's the Vote Green initiative is put on by Ben Horn from Michigan Organic Solutions and the Medical Marijuana Report. That's out of Flint.
Yes, sir.
And now, we've done some streaming for Ben. We went up to Flint last weekend, I believe, on Sunday, and streamed his Michigan Organic Solutions seminar that he had. He actually put something together for the Holiday Inn up there. And we went there and streamed the entire event. So if you want to go up and see the kind of panel that they put together and what some of this stuff means, it's just a portion of it, but you can go to RadioWeedShow.com. If you click on the video section, you can look at the guys sitting at the chairs behind a desk. That's going to be the panel discussion. Haas, really quickly also, tell them what else you used to do. What did you're retired from something right now for a minute. You're unemployed, I would say.
Well, Bill Schuette made me unemployed because I'm a bounty hunter, and he took my CCWs away until we can get this from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3.
Wait a minute. Wait. That's a lot in a short period of time. Really quickly, Haas is a bounty hunter. You know what that means? He goes out there and he tackles the guys that the cops can't get. When somebody jumps bail, or they skip out on bond and the police can't find them or are too afraid to go after them because they're so dangerous, guess who gets called out on the case? It's Haas, one of the bounty hunters in the state. Now, the bounty hunters don't have to have a warrant to bust down a door. If there's some guy in there and he knows they're in there, he could just go bust the door down and take them into custody. What's that called, Haas?
Produce a habeas corpus.
That's right, produce a habeas corpus. They need the body in the courtroom now at all costs. So get them now. All other rules are off the table. No holds barred. So Haas goes in. Now, how many times have you been shot at and actually, taken a bullet, Haas?
8.
He said 8. 8 times he's gotten lead in him. And the ATF, because of this ruling by the Attorney General of the United States, that's Eric Holder, the federal guy, part of the Obama administration, said, no. We're passing this rule down through the ATF that says, if you're a medical marijuana card holder, that means that you're likely to have medicine on you. And that medicine is a Schedule 1 controlled substance. It's against the Federal Scheduled Controlled Substance Act, 1970? And because it has no legitimate medical value under the federal law, this is illegal. It's a felony. And that means that you can't have a gun because, if you have a gun and you're committing a felony, that makes you a felon. So they made Haas give his guns up. The guns that he protects himself with to go out and bring in the bad guys. And what'd they give you, Haas, instead?
Beanbag, pepper spray, and taser gun.
Beanbags, a pepper spray, and a taser gun. I don't know.
Go after somebody with a fully automatic pistol.
Did they give you a box of Rice Krispies and some confetti to throw at them, too?
Well, I wish. At least I could have did something with that better than I can with what they want me to do. It's absolutely crazy, Haas. But one more time, you're going out to Lansing. What's the address? What time? How can people get out there and sign the Bill Schuette recall campaign so we can stop this asinine buffoonery going on? 2868 Michigan Avenue, 3 blocks in from 127, and it's from 2 to 5.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Haas, for calling and being part of the show. If you want to get Haas's T-shirts, Haas is going to make some for the show. We'll be giving maybe a couple away here in the next couple of weeks when we get them printed up.
So if you give me the artwork, I'll have them on the press.
My internet's down. Don't even get me going about the internet. I'm flaming mad about my internet provider. I won't even say who they are because we don't want to make people mad. But they've lit a fire under my tail this morning. I'll tell you, my internet's down, and I'm a broadcaster. I use the internet to do it with. It's kind of hard if there's no access, and then you got clowns that don't know about how to come out and fix that stuff. Make several appointments and can't figure out what kind of modem they got to have. It's really weird. Anyways, Haas, thanks for being on the show. We'll talk to you soon. Call us during the week on the Medical Marijuana Morning Show over on RadioWeedShow.com, and we'll get you on the air again.
We're always ready for you, Steve. Give me a call anytime you like. And thank you very much.
Thank you. We love Haas. Haas is a good man. Haas does a lot of good things for less fortunate people, and I can't say Haas is a fortunate man himself. Back to the phones. Liz, you're on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, Steve. How's life going?
Oh, you know, do you want to get me started? Haas nearly got me going.
Yeah.
Liz, you know, did you see what the Attorney General did this week? Have you been listening on the phones? No? He has that opinion. It says that if you're a medical marijuana patient and you encounter the police and they find your medicine, they're going to take it from you. They're going to require them to take it from you. It's their absolute duty, he says, for them to seize it immediately. And then if they take you into custody, they don't have to give it back to you. Once they release you, it doesn't matter if you're a card-holding patient. It doesn't matter that the law says they're not allowed to seize it or not. He says federal law trumps it. And that if you give it back to them, that could be distributing marijuana in the eyes of the federal government. They would open themselves up to criminal and civil penalties from the feds. So he's saying to the cops, hey, Mr. Policeman, you have no federal protection here. If somebody wanted to, they could sue you. You got to confiscate that pot, and you got to keep it.
Unreal. It is so sad. There's such a extremely ignorant government in America. The whole issue of marijuana being anything but a good thing is unbelievable. I just don't understand their mentality.
We'll talk about Bill Schuette's opinion. This is the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. We'll be right back, folks.
More of your calls next on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
Hey, Steve Greene here for the Medical Marijuana Certifications at AMMP. They're the American Medical Marijuana Professionals. You'll find them just north of Utica Road on Gratiot in Roseville. Their address is 28349. Now, call-ins are welcome, but you're better off calling for an appointment. They have a toll-free number, 877-RX-420-99. That's 877-RX-420-99 for American Medical Marijuana Professionals. That's AMMP on Gratiot in Roseville. All right, I'm going to do this one without any music because I don't want to distract you with anything. I want you to join us Monday through Friday from 6 until 10 a.m. on RadioWeedShow.com for the all-new Medical Marijuana Morning Show. The all-new Medical Marijuana Morning Show from 6 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday on RadioWeedShow.com. We've got music, we've got guests, we've got a co-host. Oh, it's not filled yet. Might be a good thing to do. It's the all-new Medical Marijuana Morning Show, Monday through Fridays from 6 until 10 on RadioWeedShow.com.
Show up, Justin.
The patient's place for medical marijuana education and safe access is Third Coast. Beautiful downtown Ypsilanti is where you can get safe, affordable access to education and materials concerning your specific needs, and quality products designed to meet your exacting needs. It's the Third Coast, 19 North Hamilton in Ypsilanti. Convenient hours, friendly, professional, compassionate. Call Third Coast today. 734-487-5402. That's the Third Coast Compassion Center in downtown Ypsilanti. 734-487-5402. If you are a carded Michigan medical marijuana patient with a need for safe access but have reservations about privacy and discretion, there is an answer. It's the Ant Farm. The Ant Farm is Metro Detroit's trusted professional mobile transfer service. Write this toll-free number down. 888-369-3320. Lab-tested, mold and pesticide-free. It's the Ant Farm's convenience you'll try, but quality standards, privacy, and friendly professionals that will bring you back. The Ant Farm comes to you. Call for discreet details right away. 888-369-3320.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com. or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's original cannabis formula nutrients. Hey, medical marijuana patients, it's time to discover what all the buzz is about in Ann Arbor. The Green Bee Collective is busy making sure your patient needs are met with high-quality, locally grown meds. Get to know the information, the research, the benefit available to your condition. Weekly specials in just minutes from downtown Ann Arbor and I-94. The details are sweet at mmmgreenbee.com. Call 734-929-2553 now.
When I was young, I knew something was wrong. My mother would forget to pick me up from school.
Drugs and alcohol may make you forget your problems and more.
Then she remembered something. Me. My mom worked hard to be in recovery, and now she is here for me. Hi, Mom. You ready? Let's go.
For drug and alcohol treatment for you or someone you love, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
20 minutes before 1 o'clock, we're back on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show on 1310 AM, Detroit's Progressive Talk, and on RadioWeedShow.com. In case you haven't had a chance to figure it out, we're also on the Ustream. If you can't get us in Detroit, you can get us on the Internet for sure. Also on iHeartRadio.com. You can get the iHeartRadio app, or you can get the Ustream app on your smartphone. Take us with you wherever you go, especially the radio stream over on the Ustream. Look for Ustream. That's the letter U, S-T-R-E-A-M. Search for it in your app store. Take us with you on the road. Back to the phones real quick. Liz, hello. Are you with us? Can we bring Liz back up? There you go. Liz, we got Paul on the line, and although you're like one of the most interesting people I know to talk to on the radio, because wow, you're an interesting chick, Liz. And I didn't get a chance to expose people to you yet. We're going to put you back in the hopper to expose everyone to you at another time. I definitely want to get to Paul because Paul's got some legal expertise. He's a great attorney, and we need to get his reflection on Bill Schuette and what's going on with his opinion and what's going on in the law.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling, Liz. We'll catch you sometime soon. Paul Tylenda, attorney at law. Welcome to the Medical Marijuana Radio Show, sir.
Hi, Steve. Thank you.
We had to talk to you today, just absolutely had to talk to you about this crazy new opinion and what it may or may not mean to people in the long run.
Well, ultimately, the quick and dirty version of it is Bill Schuette had come out with an opinion that said, in the event that police seize medical marijuana during a criminal stop or during an investigation, that the police do not have to then return the medicine to the patient. There's a difference, and a lot of the language is being twisted, I think, throughout the media, and some of the understanding is that the press is saying that the police can seize it. Well, the police can seize it, but there's a difference between medicine being seized and medicine being forfeited. And ultimately what the Attorney General is saying is that this medicine, yes, it can be forfeited, even though the Medical Marijuana Act says that none of these things shall be subject to forfeiture. And part of the reason, and part of his reasoning is, he's arguing that if a police officer seizes your medical marijuana and then returns it to you, that act of returning your lawful property to you somehow makes these police officers drug dealers and in violation of the Federal Controlled Substances Act.
Isn't that just ludicrous? I mean, really, isn't that just trying to call the salt pepper?
It's actually hilarious in a sense, because if you apply that logic, that means that if your firearms are seized by the police and they give it back to you, that somehow makes the police now a firearms dealer. If the police seize your money from you and return your money, that somehow makes the police bankers.
How about this one? How about this one? How about there's a pregnant lady, and she's giving birth, and there's no time to wait for the ambulance, so the officer helps in the birth? Doesn't they make him practicing a law of practicing medicine without a license? He's a doctor now.
Ultimately, yes. And it's an absurd application by trying to weave in the federal law into state law, where in reality, the way that it's always been is if you have a legal right inside of this state to possess your own property, and that property is in fact legally licensed to you, then the police can and should give it back to you. Now, the funny part is that a handful of years ago, it's been about 3 years since the Medical Marijuana Act came into effect, and it's been about 2.5, almost 3 years of application. I can remember having cases where patients would be stopped by police, their medicine would be seized, and I would have to get into a battle with the city attorney or the prosecutor to have the medicine returned. And I used to joke with them to say, hey, now you guys are drug dealers. And now all of a sudden that joke has now come to life in a real application, a real opinion by Bill Schuette.
You know, it just seems to me just to be the craziest idea. Now, it's my wholehearted belief. And you look, I'm a news reporter. I've got spiderweb tentacles going everywhere. As soon as something vibrates, I know about it immediately. It seems to me, by all indications, that the Attorney General is trying to get the courts to eventually, through, death by 1,000 cuts, as Neil Rockhind would put it. Just by slowly getting one little case law here, one little case law there, and then eventually stitching them all together and having a court at some point in time declare the entire Michigan Medical Marijuana Act unconstitutional. That's what I think is going on.
And I think that you're on the right track, and I think ultimately what Schuette is trying to do is he's trying to narrow the interpretation of the law and make it so narrow that the application not only is impractical, but the application is darn near impossible, and ultimately make it such a process and such a difficult process at that people won't think it's worth it. It won't be, like as they say, the juice won't be worth the squeeze. It won't be worth what you get out of it for the risk and for the management of all of your legal issues and all of your potential liabilities. So that, there'll be fewer participants, that marijuana will then go back to being treated as being illegal, which is what it seems that Bill Schuette wants.
Well, and I just suggested at the top of this show you didn't get a chance to hear that because you weren't on hold, Paul. I'm assuming you didn't get a chance to hear the beginning of the show. I was suggesting that his connections through Dow and Midland and his heavy investment into pharmaceutical companies, that this is indeed, and not to mention the special interest money he gets from those campaigns, those PACs, that this is the impetus behind his action. It's not the will of the state of Michigan, the people who elected him to do this job, to stand up behind Michigan's laws, to enforce Michigan's laws, not to dismantle them.
You would think. I mean, that is in the job description. However, an agenda by any politician is going to win out over his actual described job duties. I've always thought it's funny that Bill Schuette spends most of his time crafting opinions and dealing with issues that have to do with medical marijuana, rather than dealing with issues that, say, have to do with safety, or have to do with welfare, or have to do with protecting children and seniors and other people who can't protect themselves from real problems. And medical marijuana isn't a ghost in the night. It's not a villainous problem. It is something that is that the Attorney General has taken an agenda towards, and it's problematic. And now, granted that the opinions that he's getting, the opinions that he's issuing, are being prompted and inquired by other law enforcement people for clarity of the matter.
I think this question this opinion was based on was actually put forth by a Republican colleague in Mount Pleasant, who had asked, "Do we have to return this? Are the police required to return it?" And so he put together this long opinion, and I would suggest that maybe he asked the police to ask him for this opinion.
Of course.
So,
well, and that's the thing, is when it comes to Attorney General's opinions, and when it comes to other government officials, elected officials, and the like, asking for an opinion, they won't ask for an opinion unless they know they're going to get the answer they want. So it's not like they just call up, Bill and say, "Hey, Bill, what do you think about this? Write an opinion for me." They do their homework, and they know which side of the issue he's going to come down on. And ultimately, I feel that these politicians are prompted into, ultimately they're being asked to ask.
I can't remember, if memory serves me.
Marijuana fixed the memory.
If memory serves, it seems like when I read this opinion, that the opinion said also that the police have a duty to seize marijuana, that they're required to seize it when they find it. Does this opinion also incorporate that ideal?
Well, that's if he's putting forth that idea to say, okay, never mind the legal status of it, that yes, you are required to seize, and by seizing it, you are required to forfeit it. That's a very clear violation of the statute.
Hang on, Paul. We got to go to break. We'll be right back with more on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Stick around, Paul. We'll be right back.
Got something to say?
Call now toll free 855-MMM Radio. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network. The Green Bee Collective.
Hey, medical marijuana patients. It's time to discover what all the buzz is about in Ann Arbor.
The Green Bee Collective.
The Green Bee Collective is busy making sure your patient needs are met with high-quality, locally grown meds.
The Green Bee Collective.
Get to know the information, the research, the benefit available to your condition.
The Green Bee Collective.
Weekly specials in just minutes from downtown Ann Arbor and I-94.
The Green Bee Collective.
The details are sweet at MMMGreenBee.com. Call 734-929-2553 now. All right, I'm going to do this one without any music because I don't want to distract you with anything. I want you to join us Monday through Friday from 6 until 10 a.m. on RadioWeedshow.com. The patient's place for medical marijuana education and safe access is Third Coast. Beautiful downtown Ypsilanti is where you can get safe, affordable access to education and materials concerning your specific needs, and quality products designed to meet your exacting needs. It's the Third Coast, 19 North Hamilton in Ypsilanti. Convenient hours, friendly, professional, compassionate. Call Third Coast today. 734-487-5402. That's the Third Coast Compassion Center in downtown Ypsilanti. 734-487-5402. Hey, Steve Greene here for the Medical Marijuana Certifications at AMMP. They're the American Medical Marijuana Professionals. You'll find them just north of Utica Road on Gratiot in Roseville. Their address is 28349. Now, call-ins are welcome, but you're better off calling for an appointment. They have a toll-free number, 877-RX-420-99. That's 877-RX-420-99 for American Medical Marijuana Professionals. That's AMMP on Gratiot in Roseville. If you are a carded Michigan medical marijuana patient with a need for safe access but have reservations about privacy and discretion, there is an answer. It's the Ant Farm. The Ant Farm is Metro Detroit's trusted professional mobile transfer service. Write this toll-free number down, 888-369-3320. Lab-tested, mold and pesticide-free. It's the Ant Farm's convenience you'll try, but quality standards, privacy, and friendly professionals that will bring you back. The Ant Farm comes to you. Call for discreet details right away. 888-369-3320.
When I was young, I knew something was wrong. My mother would forget to pick me up from school.
Drugs and alcohol may make you forget your problems. And more.
Then she remembered something. Me. My mom worked hard to be in recovery. And now she is here for me. Hi, Mom. You ready? Let's go.
For drug and alcohol treatment for you or someone you love, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics, and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com. or call Ray direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
I think that voters had in their mind when they went to the polls different than I think what many of the voters voted for.
People went to the polls to vote for it. If they had known,
what the voters said, what the voters did, that's what the voters did. Quit trying to tell voters what they wanted or what they did or what they were thinking or how they were duped, you jerks. I'll be on the phone this afternoon. It's the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Paul Tylenda, attorney at law. Thanks for coming on the show, Paul. You were talking about the Attorney General, and we interrupted you going to break. Go ahead and finish that thought.
Like I said, the Attorney General and the people who get these opinions, you know what you're going to get when you ask for it. An opinion is never just asked for out of the blue. You know what you know what the answer is going to be when you ask for it. So I have a feeling that there are very few people who are asking these questions who the Attorney General entertains these opinions with, who aren't going to get an answer that is aligned with what the Attorney General is going to say. No one's going to ask, no Democrat will ask the Attorney General to come out with an opinion because they know where he lands on the issue. And they're never going to have an Attorney General opinion from Bill Schuette that's going to be friendly.
If we just held him down and tickled the hell out of him, do you think that would help? I don't know.
You know, that seems to work for a lot of people, so you never know. But I've always found it to be disingenuous for a guy who admitted to smoking marijuana when he was younger.
Yeah, Billy Bong! You smoking the pot, Billy Bong?
It's a bit disingenuous, and he's made this agenda part of his. This is the flag that he waves when it comes to what he wants to be remembered by, and I think that's a very dangerous thing, because if people see him, like I said before, he's focusing on this issue instead of issues that have to do with safety or welfare or even the general well-being of our society and of our people. And if he's going to focus on this, be careful, because that legacy may not serve him well in the future when there's going to be real crime and real issues to deal with. And here he's spending his time on something that a lot of people feel is not necessarily an issue.
Paul, if people got a question, they need the advice of an attorney, they're in the Southeast Michigan area, they want to get a hold of your law firm, how can they talk to you?
They can contact me at 313-802-9873. I'd be happy to answer any questions they may have.
Hey, I see that case out there in Bloomfield, the ACLU thing. That might be happening this week, and then our case is coming down pretty soon too, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, the ACLU and the Bloomfield case. A lot of these things, they're being fought tooth and nail, and some of the issues they're raising they're far-reaching. But again, you have to reach hard and reach deep to get arguments that defeat state law in a state law court.
Attorney Paul Tylenda, thanks for coming on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. And we're on every week, Monday through Friday on the morning show, just streaming on the internet at radioweedshow.com. Please make yourself part of that table, too, because we love you, Paul, and you've always got some great information, great facts. We'd like to rely on you.
Thanks, Stephen. Happy to help.
We'll talk to you soon. Robin Schneider out in Lansing. Hello, you're on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Thanks for joining us, Robin.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm terrific. Did you hear we started the morning show? You can call us during the morning.
That would be great. A morning show with Steve while I have my coffee. Fantastic.
It's kind of fun. In Detroit, they got Tony Trupiano on 1310 here, WDTW. He's got an awesome show, and he's got awesome guests. But in case you're wondering about what's happening in the medical marijuana field, you could join us on radioweedshow.com just for a minute, and then tune back into Tony. That'd be kind of a fun thing. So we got 3 minutes before 1 o'clock. Robin, can we talk to you at all about what's going on in Lansing? Can you tell us, there's some events and stuff happening, aren't there? I heard Tony over at TNT's got a court case coming up. Can you tell us what's going on out there?
November 20th is her court case, and I don't have all the details, but they basically have engaged in a civil lawsuit against the city of Lansing, saying that their business model is absolutely legal, and they want to be open, and they want to continue, to carry out our law. So it's been disappointing that the city of Lansing didn't stand behind their ordinance like some other places did. So, you know, that it's unfortunate, but I think we're going to have to see us engaging in a lot more civil suits in the future.
Now, Tony and Corey, the bud tender, run TNT Patient Resources Center over there on Michigan Avenue in Lansing. They used to be known as the 24-hour place, right?
Right.
And then the city of Lansing said, no, you can't do 24-hour places, and then they kind of modified, and they did all this stuff, and then they said, oh, no, the Attorney General's threatening everybody. We got to shut everybody down. You're all closed. We don't care what your model is. You got to close.
Yeah, pretty much that's what happened, yeah. And the police even, you know, kind of pulled patients over leaving and went into these places, told them they couldn't have any marijuana in the building, and just really harassed them. And what's interesting is they really targeted Michigan Avenue, not, you know, there were some places on the south side of Lansing, north side of Lansing that the police didn't go there. They went right on to Michigan Avenue, and that was kind of the target area. And from what I've heard is that, you know, Bill Schuette was absolutely obsessed with the Green Mile.
Yeah, he is. He really is, Robin.
Had made it an absolute priority to shut that down.
Robin, seconds left on the show. You got anything to promote really quickly, really brief, like 10 seconds?
Well, the best thing I could say is I want everybody to get on the phone and call their legislators. I know you've done a fantastic job, you know, meeting with them, and you know, it really takes the whole village to fix this. So we need every single person to get up and do something and make their voice heard and go.
It really does. Thanks for calling, Robin. I really appreciate your assistance on the show. Don't forget, folks, marijuana is the gateway drug to the Attorney General's office. Thanks a lot, Billy Bong. Join us next week on the Radio Weed Show, a medical marijuana radio show, 1310 AM, Detroit's Progressive Talk.
Marijuana Radio Show and RadioWeedShow.com are trademarks. Copyright 2011.
The comments, ideas, and opinions expressed in the preceding program are those of the show participants only. Nothing stated in this program reflects the ideas, opinions, or beliefs of this radio station and or Clear Channel Radio.
Identify yourself, please.
This is Detroit's Progressive Talk, 1310 WDTW, Dearborn, Detroit. The comments, ideas, and opinions